Hey Lisa, how are you? One second, I'm just going to share out to the few groups that I can share out to, and then we'll get started. I cut my hair. I was doing the sides and I kind of got crazy. Like, you can never put me, I was trying to just shave the sides up to like right there around the back of my head, and I kind of like couldn't get the back right, and I couldn't get the sides like on both sides of my head, like at the points where I can't even put my hands right, but there and there. So I was just like, fuck it, and I shaved it all. So it'll grow back. I do this from time to time. You guys haven't seen it because I think you guys, every few years, I'll shave my entire head of hair off. And I was thinking too, tonight's the new moon in Aquarius, so why not? New decade, new year, new everything, so let's do new hair. Because your hair is actually connected to your spiritual growth too. I've heard that somewhere. Remember, is it Samson and Delilah? Right? That's the guy where they cut his hair. There's a whole thing about hair and spirituality. That's why like monks shave their head too, I believe. I don't know the exact whatever. So I just was thinking about it and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna shave it all off. Fuck it. I didn't want to deal with it. It was like you can never put me around a razor or like not a razor, but you know the clippers. Like brrr, I go crazy with them. I have a set in my bathroom. And I have to be very careful. I'll end up with like no hair on my head, no hair on my balls. It's crazy. I think that's all I can share too. If you guys can share this out, wow, a lot of you are coming in. Hey Tammy, hey Angel, hey Caroline, hey, yeah, Brazilian don't count, exactly. Angel says I look like the Unabomber. Do you think that's true? I might actually look. I do. I do. But I think I'm going for that sort of, I don't know, prison chic, computer nerd, hacker, Sinead O'Connor fan realness. That's what I'm doing now. No, I just went nuts. I was trying to leave the length, and then the other thing is as I was leaving the length, I wanted to then cut the length, and I can't cut in a mirror. I can barely like touch my head properly, looking at myself in this, and so it just got super frustrating. And then I started taking the scissors and like, you know how you kind of glide scissors through your hair. So I was kind of gliding it through, trying to cut some of the length off of the stuff that was flopped over on the side, because actually this side, wait, no, this side would have been fine because that hair kind of hangs over this side, but this side was not fine. There was all this like tuft of hairs sticking out back here like this. And I was like, oh, fuck this. I've gone and royally fucked this one up. So I was just like, shave her off. And luckily I've shaved it off now, so it will grow out between now and when I have to travel. So I'll look like I relatively have at least some hair on my head by the 6th, because I have to go to Florida for class. So, yeah. Holy Eminem, exactly, Tammy Chirasso. It's kind of butch, isn't it? Hey, Melinda Lane, how are you? She says, no, LOL. It's okay, guys. It's only hair. It will grow back. It's just when it's this short, it's so gray close to the root that it doesn't look like I have any hair. But I like the sides when they're shaved short because it's really sparkly. Do you see that? So I always shave it down this low, but I have length at the top. But I couldn't get this portion correct in my mirror, and I kind of fucked it up in the back. So I was like, fuck it, just shave it all off. Thank you, Jen Nichols. Jen Nichols says she loves it. I think it's a little too short on the top, but I just did it all with the same clipper guard, which was a number 1, which is what I normally do the sides with. I don't normally always do my sides, but I was trying to save money. So I tried to do my sides when I got out of the tub today. Not a good idea. I took a hot bath today, this afternoon. So, but now I feel so free and easy, and I like rubbing my head, and I don't have to worry about like getting up in the morning with bad head. I can just get right on camera. I'm camera ready, guys. I'm just camera ready. I don't know what else to say. So, hey Ducky, Mary, put down the bong. It's charming time. You think I look younger, Melinda? Really? I don't know. I guess, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, it probably... Excuse me, you're going to see the thing. See there? I don't know. I just look so strange now without my glasses. I mean, I don't wear my glasses all the time, but when I'm on video, I always am used to having my glasses on. So... But I used to do this every so often. I was telling Ducky, I used to have blonde hair. Like, I used to bleach my hair blonde all through, like, I don't know, my 20s. And then after it would grow out for a while and get dark, if I got tired of bleaching it, I would just shave it all off. So I go in cycles with it. And I think the last time I shaved my head completely was a few years ago. But every so often I'll just do it and start over. You do think I look younger, really, Tammy? Did I look that old? I guess I did look old. I always call myself an old lady, so... It is a fresh start. That's kind of how I was feeling. The new moon in Aquarius. Fuck it. I got an Aquarius moon. Let's do it. Let's just cut it all up. Let's Google hair and spirituality. Because I believe that there is some weird connection. I don't know why I feel like I know that or I've heard that. Hair and spirituality connection. That sounds good. Go. I don't know if that's true. Long hair and spiritual benefits? Uh-oh, I'm fucked. It says there is a connection between long hair and spirituality, my hair and my spiritual awakening, the spiritual significance of hair. Hair symbolizes the physical strength and virility. The virtues and properties of a person are said to be concentrated in his hair and nails. It is a symbol of instinct, of female seduction, and physical attraction. Anyways, does hair carry negative energy? It says bad energy can stick to and affect your hair. So leave behind the past and all negativity and embrace a whole new look this season. And not only that, your hair also absorbs the energy around you, not to mention pollution, heat, and chemicals. Okay, well. Interesting. Who knows? You need coffee, Lisa? I'm having a Dr. Pepper to get my little caffeine fix going before we get started. Yeah, tonight is the moon, isn't it? I think tonight's the moon. I'm pretty sure. So, right? Isn't tonight the new moon in Aquarius, the 24th? Let's look that up. God, if it wasn't for Google. Is tonight the new moon? I think it is. Yeah. The moon today is a new moon phase. During this phase, the moon is visible too close to the sun and the skies. Blah, 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 blah. And it's a waning gibbous phase. Call me Samson down to my ass. That's cool. I like it that monks shave their heads and it kind of just starts you new. So it'll grow out in a matter of like months. I'll be fine. And I like my hair super short anyways, like especially on the sides. Even like the way it's been the last few days, I feel like I feel fat in the face when my hair on my sides grows more than this. I love it when it's like this, and then if I have like a little bit of length on the top. But I was just like, fuck it, and I shaved it all off. So we're starting new moon, new year, new decade, new hair growth. Exactly. I had a Britney Spears moment, Tammy. Dan Spears. That's my name. So, does anybody want any chunky, funky, hit chunky? Does anybody want to get their charmings on? Well, you are channeling you in Beyonce. Wait, what is Janet saying? Go get you a weave. Oh, I don't need a weave. I can go get hats. You guys have never seen pictures of me in drag. I should point... Oh, God. If you go to the group, hold on, I'll post a picture of me in drag so you guys can see me in drag. You want to see weave? I'll show you. I'll post it in the group so that you guys can see it. Um, where's the group? Group. This way I can't leave here. Photo. Oh, photo. Oh, I love that photo of me. Where I'm so over it. Oh, guess when he was a baby. Hold on one second. I'm looking for this photo of me in drag that's on my phone somewhere. I'll put it up so you guys can see me as a real lady. Pictures of my grandmother. Oh, here we go. All right, so you guys will all want to clear out the chat right now and run to the Engelgeist group and look what I just posted. You want to see me with a weave? You want to see me in a Beyonce moment? There you go. I will show you my Beyonce moments. There she blows. So wrong. All right. Who else is here? It's Angie. It's in the Engelgeist group, so it's in the private group. There's a picture of me as a lady, cross-dresser that I am. Oh wait, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I don't want that. No. Oh, good. Thank you for sharing, Ducky. For posting. If you guys could share this video out because I'm sort of not able to. Tammy's gonna do a near future charming. All right, fierce Tammy. I need to pay the speeding ticket, so let's do it, girlfriend. I love how like y'all are talking about near future. Like that to me is such an what is it, an oxymoron? Because we're talking about near yet future, so it's kind of like sends a mixed message. I feel like. Wow, one hot mama, Kelly. That's an old photo of me. I used to do drag back in like the mid 2000s. There was a club in San Francisco called Tranny Shack, and I was Miss Tranny Shack 2005. I won the contest. We performed a number. There was I think like 6 of us or 7 of us that competed that year, and I won. There's only about 11 of us in existence. Tranny Shack was like kind of this really fun, super cool, very creative group of drag kids that performed in drag, men and women. There was women there that performed in drag. They either did what we would call a faux queen, where they would dress up as like hyper overdone makeup and big wigs and big tits, even though they were real women. We'd call them faux queens instead of uh, uh, drag queens because they were actually real women dressed as women, but in a drag overdoneness, right? And some of the best performers were some of the women, but um, it was a really creative group of people, a really great community around this club that would meet every, was it Tuesday or Wednesday night in San Francisco? And we would all, nothing was sacred there. We would rip into politicians and make fun of what was going on in the news and political statements and, just raunchiness. And it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. It's the good old days. Tammy, that's one bad bitch. She's a ride or die. That's what we call her. Her name was Coco Canal. So, because when you used to go get your fake Chanel bags on Canal Street in New York, and I was a fake knockoff of a woman, so I was Coco Canal instead of Coco Chanel. And Coco Canal is kind of like your bunghole. I was one of those raunchy girls. I used to always love to take a song and twist it into something different, but I always did it for the creative like aspect of it. It was never wasn't about the drag. It was about the fun thing about the drag was that it allowed me to be in total anonymity, so I could perform and not anybody know that it was me. Like you could be there one week performing, and the next week hear people talking while you were standing in the audience about your performance from the week before, and they'd have no clue that it was you that was up there. So it was this kind of anonymity of getting on the stage and not feeling quite as fearful because nobody knew it was me. Because I had all this giant hair and makeup on and stuff, so you couldn't tell who was who. We all knew who each other was, all the performers, but my friend is Coco Flannel. That's stupid. Really? Are you kidding with me? Okay, wait, let me see. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. People are paying and I'm not. Okay, Tracy paid. Tracy, what did you want yours to be on? But if you actually look on, I think it's on YouTube, there's performances from me from way back in like the 2000s, in the mid 2000s, late 2000s. Past life? All right. Yeah, they're on. If you search me, you can find my old performances and stuff, like just wacky, crazy stuff that I used to do in the clubs in San Francisco. All right, so I probably shouldn't have told you guys that, but oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter. What was I gonna say? All right, so let's get into Tracy Marie's past life. Let me get centered here for a minute. Let's bring all that energy back from Tranny Shack in 2005 and beyond. Bring my attention back here. All right. Andrew. All right, so I'm gonna say this right out of the gate, Tracy. I gotta turn the camera. Sorry, so you guys can see the charms. What I see for this, do you have the letter P? I put the P up on the side there. Let me get the chat open. I'm not sure. I'm gonna say this. It's America. I know that. I feel like it's America. I feel like you were female. I feel like this was like either. I'm not sure on the timeline. My first thing that was my first thought was like 1920s, but it could be late 1800s. I feel like when did they make the first car? Like I feel like maybe cars were around, but they were new. Does anybody know when the first Model T was made? Because I kind of feel like that. And the reason why I'm looking at these charms and I'm feeling like it was like at the dawn of the break of industry, if that makes any sense, like where maybe cars were first coming out. And I feel like you were female. I'm also feeling like as I'm looking at these charms that you were, I don't know, like you're in your 30s as I'm looking at this. I don't know why I'm feeling a distinct age. Where's my pointer? I broke my pointer today by accident. One of the crystals fell out. Kind of bummed. I'm a little afraid to use it until I get some glue, but I like to use it. All right, so this is if you believe in yourself, anything is possible, which is upright. I really like that. I feel like you were a strong and independent woman, and I feel like you worked sort of somewhere in some sort of like I'm not sure. This sewing machine here is making me feel like that, like you worked in a factory of some sort, not necessarily with sewing, but I feel like it was like the dawning of the age of industry, right? Like where big factories were coming about, cars were being produced. It was that sort of thing. There was like, I don't know when that was though. Like I want to say late 1800s, early 1900s is what the sort of era feels like to me. I'm seeing sort of like, and that's why I go to the 20s is because I'm sort of seeing the clothing of the 20s, like that sort of style of dress. Let me just look at this. I feel like you had really strong opinions, or at least that's sort of what I'm hearing. I feel like you were not necessarily like, I don't know if misunderstood is the right word, but you might have been considered somewhat abrasive in a way. Like you sort of seem like maybe a bit mouthy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like you weren't necessarily a shy violet, let's say that. I feel like you were sort of tough. I don't know that you were married either. I think you might have not been married, but you were okay with that. And part of the reason why I feel this is like you have the tree of life under here, you have this sunflower over here, and you have this key, and something about this feels very independent to me. Like you were sort of very much uh, in your own world. Like you kind of did everything for yourself in this lifetime. And it feels to me like you had boyfriends, I feel like, or you had sort of relations, but you didn't require marriage. I don't feel like you had children. I don't feel like you necessarily even wanted children. And part of the reason why I say that too is because this area in here that's all empty feels like solo. Like to me, you felt okay to be alone. You felt okay to be on your own. You felt like extremely independent to me. You have the sixth chakra here, which is this clear stone, and then you also have the clear quartz up here, which speaks to me about being very clear-minded, very like, and that's where that sort of mouthiness, or I don't want to say mouthy in a bad way, but like you were opinionated, and you didn't hold back your opinions for fear of being a woman or anything like that. You weren't necessarily aggressive or anything like that, but you were a strong personality. And I think it was a sort of like, in a way, a personality that men, it's not that they couldn't handle you, but they just didn't know, like, how to um, deal with you. Like, you weren't like women of the time. But and the sense too, this sewing machine says to me, you weren't necessarily rich or um, influential in like with money or prestige or anything like that, but people knew you, right? Like uh, you were memorable, right? And men didn't necessarily always know how to categorize you, but it didn't really matter to you. Like I'm hearing like in my voice, like I didn't want to be fucking categorized. Like I don't need that kind of thing, and that's sort of why I see this big open space here. And also, this Mary makes me feel like a sense of independence and a sort of peace with being on your own in this lifetime. Like you were very self sufficient. You sort of took care of yourself. The wisdom down here, the little owl down here, I don't know if you can see that. To me, it feels like you were real smart. Like you were real at a very deep level. You were very, very smart and very, you didn't take much shit from anybody. Okay. I also feel like there was this connection to your mother in this lifetime. I feel like, I don't know if you lost your father in this lifetime early or if he left, but for whatever reason, the sense that I get is you grew up with this mother figure who sort of did a lot of the same things, right? She took care of you, she maybe went to work, she sort of made ends meet for whatever the reason being. I don't know if the father was taken from you guys or if he left, but for whatever it was, like the sense that I'm getting as I'm looking at these charms, and I don't know where it's maybe from this hand a little bit, also from this Mother Mary. I'm getting this vibe that your mom sort of had to make ends meet to take care of you. I also think there might have been a younger sister in this lifetime. And so she raised and put together a life for the three of you. I feel like maybe she never. Hold on. I'm not sure because I'm not looking at her past life really, but I don't think. I think that there was a large chunk of time as you were growing up, let's just say this, that she remained single while you were young girls. and you watched your mom do this and sort of take care of things, make ends meet, pay the bills, be in control, be in charge, and she had to be like this strong female. So you took that into your adult life in this lifetime, and you worked hard, you did your life, you made ends meet, you were happy, you were a little bit of a ball buster. Like, don't get me wrong, that's what I get from this boxing glove here, is I feel like you knew how to stand your ground and take care of yourself. You opened doors for yourself. That's this key. You have the clarity here. Like, you didn't like necessarily wait for stuff to come to you like most women would. Most women were sort of dependent or waiting on a husband and children. Not you, Tracy. Like, I feel like you were pretty clear on you didn't necessarily need any of that. I mean, if it came your way, sure, you were open to it. But I also feel like with this tree of life here, you kind of lived a really good life and enjoyed yourself in this lifetime. You didn't have any sort of like regrets, you know, like, oh, like I want to say, oh, did you feel bad that you didn't get married? And it's like, no, I had a really good time. If you believe, and it says here, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And I think that you really did believe in yourself in this lifetime. I'm trying to figure out, oh, this crystal's falling back out. I'm just going to take it out, but I don't want to lose it because it fits perfectly in there. I'm trying to figure out, you have these two Reiki healing stones. And I like that one is up and one is down. To me, this feels like balance. Like, I don't feel like one is present and one is not, like how we normally determine, like, oh, maybe that's not available to you because it's face down. To me, this feels like there's like a balance to you. And that's part of, like, in this lifetime, that was part of why you were able to sort of be as strong as you were, as grounded as you were, as opinionated as you were. You know, I kind of feel like men didn't necessarily know how to deal with you in some ways, but they also respected you. Like, and I see, like, I don't know why I'm seeing all this, but I feel like you had different boyfriends, like different paramours or different lovers throughout your lifetime, but you were okay with kind of being on your own. And most women at the time would not have been able to do what you did. I also get the sense that you kind of hung out more with men than you did with women in this lifetime, because most women didn't like necessarily resonate with you or like understand you. I think that a lot of women admired you quietly because they saw you as being brave, but they also sort of maybe ridiculed you a little bit, or separated themselves from you because the way you went about things was a little bit foreign to them. It wasn't that it was wrong, but they were sort of like, like sort of appalled, or sort of, uh, what do you mean she doesn't want a husband and children? Is what I'm hearing. You know, like this sort of feeling of, oh my gosh. But there was sort of also this awe or this respect, this unspoken respect amongst these women as they're watching you sort of do your life, because they can't believe that you sort of have the moxie or the chutzpah to run with the big dogs, so to speak. I also feel like this clarity stone here flipped over onto the tree of life says to me, like, you were very clear on how you wanted your life to be, on how you, like, which path you wanted to take at any given time. You didn't mince words. You didn't like second guess. I don't even know that you had the option to second guess in this lifetime. You were just sort of taught from your mother, I think, that she didn't have the option to second guess, right? She just sort of made a decision and went with it because she had to take care of, it's so weird to say this, but she had to take care of you two girls. And I feel like the younger sister went on a whole different trajectory than you. She went the route of that sort of get married, have kids, that sort of a route. And I also feel like maybe there was some separation in there in that relationship too. Like, I feel misunderstood all of a sudden. Like, I feel like maybe quite possibly you were misunderstood because um, between your mom, okay, so between your mom and your sister, I feel like those were the two strongest female like influences or connections that you had. And then, you know, you followed more the route of what you had, your mom had emulated, and you went that route, right? And you stayed strong and you did your thing and you had a good time. Like, I get that you had like a real, like, moxie about you. Like, there were men that appreciated you, right? But they also didn't know that you weren't like sort of marriage material in the sense that, and I don't think that you necessarily wanted to be marriage material. Like, I don't get that from these charms. I feel like you were quite fine shining on your own. Like, this sunflower here is underneath this healing stone. Like, to me, you sort of shined your own sort of light, your own growth. You were in charge of it. You didn't mind being in charge of it. Like, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. You really did believe that. So you moved through the world that way. A lot of the women at the time were like, no, I need a husband and kids to be safe. Even your little sister, sort of, I feel like she went that route. And because she chose that route of the husband and the safe sort of, you know, life, or what the women at the time were doing, you guys maybe grew a little bit distant as you got older. And I think that there's a little bit of feeling misunderstood or feeling a little bit sad about that. It wasn't like, didn't end it for you, or, you know, it didn't like, I don't know. It's just sort of like, I feel like you kind of, and then I feel like your mom passed at some point, and then it was kind of left up to you. I also feel like you sort of aged gracefully. Like, you lived to a nice age. Like, you didn't die early or anything horrible. And I feel like the sense that I get from this is that you passed very happily, like content. Um, like, you knew that you did everything that you wanted to sort of do. Are you a natural Reiki healer now? Because you have both of these Reiki stones here. You might have been doing some of that work back then before they even knew what Reiki was, right? Like this, and I feel like this one down and this one up says to me that there was like a balance with you. Like, you were very, and these dark stones say to me that there was a groundedness with you that like really empowered you to kind of move through this world or this time, this era with an authority where some men appreciated it, but it really took a certain strong type of man to really appreciate it. So I don't necessarily know that you necessarily you didn't get married per se. You did have like significant boyfriends throughout this lifetime, but a lot of men and women didn't know how to like process you. But I think that you also didn't let that stop you. This key, this boxing glove, like anything that was worth having, you were clear on what you wanted and you fought for it, or you opened those doors wherever you could. You didn't let anything stop you. Strong, independent woman, yes, queen, Michelle says. Hey, Glenn, how are you? This is Glenn saying this is all new to me. It's a charming. So right now we're doing a past life charming for Tracy Marie. Hey, Renee Lynn, how are you? A gangster babe? Janet Moret Clifton asks, were you a gangster babe? I don't feel like she was a gangster babe per se. I feel like I kind of get that like Girl Friday attitude. I feel like she was more of a like she had chutzpah and moxie, right? Like, she spoke her opinion. She ran with the boys. She worked hard. I feel like you might have worked in a factory, something to that degree. I think that you were attractive. You weren't, I don't get any impression that you weren't like unattractive to men. I think you were sort of attractive. I think that they just didn't know how to handle how independent you were. So, and I think that you were very clear on what you wanted in a time when women were sort of deferring to their men, not you, in this lifetime. And there's this like, not only do I feel like this Mary charm sort of represents kind of your mother, but it's also like this sort of female empowerment thing, like that I feel like you ran on through most of this life. I got what I want, no beat it kind of gal. Hey Exactly. Tammy's channeling your life now too. I got what I want, now beat it, kind of gal. I think that you were nicer than that, though. I think that there is a warmth to these charms. I definitely feel like there's a warmth, and there's a, you were, I think that you were kind. I don't want to like, portray that you weren't kind. You were just sort of like, um, independent is really a good word. Assertive might be a good word. You maybe spoke up when you weren't supposed to, kind of thing, but not in a bad way. Just sort of like you were sort of a go-getter. Like if there was a position available, like I'm just using this as an example, but like say in the factory that you worked in, if there was a position for management or something that would have gone to a man normally, you would have stood up and said, "I'll take that job. I'm qualified." And everybody would be like, "Excuse me?" Including your coworkers at the machines next to you or at the, on the production line or wherever the hell you were that you were working. You were, the other women were sort of like, "Wait, what? Norma Ray? Like, calm down, girl." So I get that kind of a vibe, like where you didn't let sort of social limitations stop you, or what was the norm socially. You didn't necessarily allow that to, and that's this if you believe in anything in yourself, anything is possible. You really tried to create that for yourself, and I think in a lot of respects you did. I mean, there was, it was still the time, right? So, but I think that even within the time and the constructs of the era that this was in, if it was the late 1800s, early 1900s, um, to me, it felt like even though there might have been constraints, you didn't necessarily allow them to affect you that badly. You sort of lived within them and kind of bent the rules or just moved your own way through it. Hey, Kelly, how are you? How's everything in Mexico? So does that make sense, Tracy? We just did a past life for Tracy, yes. Do you need to take a photo of this? I'm not sure if the P might be the initial of you in this lifetime. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for the video, by the way, Jay. I saw it, I approved it, and put it in the room. So it's nice to see. I didn't even know there was other men in the room other than Andrew. And it's questionable whether or not Andrew's a man. I'm just kidding. Do you want a picture of this? I feel like this was America. Like I feel like this is during I don't know. I want to say like maybe the Industrial Revolution, but I don't know my timelines. I don't know my history very well. I feel like this is the beginning of factory workers, the beginning of like whenever the Model T was sort of like produced. Like I feel like cars were around, but they were new. I feel like this was about a time in the either late 1800s, early 1900s when like maybe mass production really started to happen. I'm not sure when was the Industrial Revolution. Can somebody exactly, Andrew? I was waiting for that. When was the Industrial Revolution? Can somebody Google that for me and give me a date? I feel like state-wise, I feel like this could be, I don't know, maybe Chicago, like Illinois. I feel like it's a city, like she was a city girl. Like I feel like this could be New York, this could be Chicago, this could be, I kind of am drawn towards Chicago. I feel like when I'm looking at this, I see brick, I see sort of paved streets. It's like this is where like big industry was. So I don't know, like if we're talking about the Industrial Revolution, we would need to look at, like, let's say late 1800s, early 1900s. What were the forefront cities then, right? There's a lot of brick, so it makes me think of the East Coast. So it could have been Boston, but I don't really feel like, I think it's Chicago, to be honest. Like my intuition is drawing me towards Chicago, but I don't know what state Chicago was in back during that time. You had a weird feeling about what, Lisa? 1760 was the Industrial Revolution, so this was way earlier. Tracy, you're from Boston. This feels to me like it's a city for sure. Like I feel like it's hustly, bustly, and you were able to kind of move through this city. You kind of had to. Like there was a lot of opportunity here, and you sort of moved through it. Like I feel like there's a swiftness, there's a capability with this lifetime. There's a you're not messing around kind of thing. Maybe it was earlier than the late 1800s, but I feel like the fashion to me, as I'm looking at the like what's going on in my mind's eye, it feels like could be. I mean, I would have to. I need to get better at like my history and fashion and all of that in my head, but I feel like it could be. I don't even know what the fashions look like in late 1800s to know if this is correct. I kind of that's where I first went was 1920s, Lisa. Like I was sort of like 1920s was the first thing that came to my mind. But it would be interesting to know what was going on in the 1920s in Chicago as far as uh, production. Because I feel like that's what she worked in. She worked in like a big warehouse or a factory of some sort. I don't think it was like a sewing factory per se. It may have been on a factory line. And I feel like she worked with a bunch of other women. And I feel like she stood out from those other women because she had an opinion. There might have even been times where she spoke up to her boss or said things to her boss about like the correct treatment or that sort of a thing. And I think that there was nothing wrong with what you said or any sort of stance that you took, Tracy. I think that people heard you and you were fair and honest and good about it, right? I don't get any sense of like that you were obnoxious in any way whatsoever. It was more like you spoke up, and a lot of the women around you sort of maybe didn't necessarily feel as though they could. So it's part of them sort of admired you, but part of them also sort of feared you in a way because you were different than them. You know, but there was a sort of silent respect, but you were kind of aware of that distance. So you hung out with men. 1908. I feel like there was cars. I definitely feel like there was cars. So this is early 1900s. This might be 1920s. It was the start of prohibition, maybe. I don't think that she was such a. I don't get a sense that you were messy though, like that you were drinking or being crazy. I feel like you were very much in control, Tracy. Like you were kind of. You were a strong-willed woman. Some men found that really attractive, but nobody ever really married you. Is the feeling that I get in this life. They didn't know quite how to completely handle where you were coming from. Oh, cool. Styles matter. Files, WordPress. Does that show like maybe she was a mob boss? No, I don't get that feeling. I just feel like you were right on the money, Tracy. Like you knew what was right. You had no problem voicing it, even if you know, like I just feel like there was an accuracy to you in this life. I mean, this clear quartz crystal, the boxing glove, the key, it all says to me that you were very clear on, what you knew was right and wrong, and you would stand up for it. You would fight for it, even as a woman, and you didn't let that stop you, right? The sunflower even says to me like you were, that it's sort of that idea of the sun and being energized, positive. This healing stone, the Reiki healing stone, it says to me like you were kind of paving the way in some ways. You may not have been like an actual political, like how do I want to say this? You weren't necessarily creating political change, right? But in that factory, let's just use this as an example. Say you worked in this factory with a bunch of other women, and these other women had lives that were dependent upon, them making the money and going back home to their husbands or doing whatever so that they could, have their children and their perfect little quiet lives. You were kind of more, you were different. You were able to speak up. You were the one that would apply for the position that none of the other women would try for because they knew it would go to a man. And you were like, well, I don't know why it wouldn't go to me. I've worked here longer than anybody that's coming in off the street kind of thing. And you would say that to your bosses. your bosses would hear you. It wasn't necessarily wrong or bad, but it was sort of shocking to like, especially even your coworkers, like, oh my God, I can't believe she even applied for that job. How brave of her. But they didn't say that to you necessarily. What they did is they pulled away from you. They sort of stepped back. But I think that in some ways, I have to say this, there's this beauty in these charms that says to me that when you did things like that and when you stood out, you actually sort of awoken other people around you to the fact that maybe they could have more. This, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible, that sort of blue certainty energy that's here says to me that, like, you doing these simple acts of sort of standing up for yourself in front of, like, say, other women allowed other women to maybe realize that there was maybe opportunity elsewhere, right? Or that it was possible, whether they chose to do it or not later, I don't know. But you kind of, just by being who you were, and that's these healing stones too, right? That's this working from your intuition with the sixth chakra and the tree of life, right? This growth of, like, providing not only your own growth, but in essence, the people around you were starting to, like, evolve in what um, they could consider for themselves. Are you serious? 1848 to 1920 was the start of the women's rights movement? I kind of feel like maybe that's, and she sort of fits into that. I don't necessarily feel like you were, like, politically doing anything, but just by being you, you were opening up women's minds. You were scaring them a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but you were only scaring them because you were, like, just by being who you were and speaking the way you spoke was challenge them or open them up to the idea of there was maybe more than what they were asking for. Intimidation? I don't feel her as being intimidating. I actually feel her as being quite charming. Hey, Christina. A little bit boisterous, but quite, like, I feel like she was kind of upbeat and happy. Very smart. Sly. Not sly, but I would say um, clever. Clever's a good word. Oh, intimidating to other women? Yeah. Well, not intimidating. I think that what it was is that she was speaking out. Not speaking out, but she was, like, sort of, like, she wasn't intimidated by the men around her, where maybe other women were, or she saw herself more as, like, just as equal as the men around her, where other women didn't necessarily view themselves that way. They viewed themselves as needing a man to survive, where I feel like Tracy didn't necessarily need a man to survive. She had watched her mother survive and take care of them and do all right. So she just went on about thriving, continuing to grow and thrive like this, and being very clear on that, like, not having any qualms about that. And so there was other women that were like, at the time, I feel like women were more dependent upon men, or they were trained to think that they needed to be dependent upon men. That was, like, the societal norm, and Tracy in this life didn't necessarily buy into that. She bought a whole nother different plane ticket that showed other women around her that they could go to different destinations. Strong, but, like, friendly. I get a very friendly vibe from this. I don't think that you ever necessarily had any, like, great enemies or anything. I don't think that even when you stood up and maybe asked for something that people would have saw as being out of place or maybe not your place to ask for, you weren't necessarily asking something that was out of the question either. Do you know what I'm saying? So people were like, you know, like, you were very smart at a very deep level. Like, you were clever. You were not, um, and I love this. If you believe in yourself, anything is possible. Like, that was sort of the attitude I think you carried. So in that way, you sort of exuded that confidence in a way, or that independence in a way. And so that challenged people's beliefs at the time, but not in a negative way. It just sort of was different than what everybody was used to. So do you have a picture of this? Do you want a screenshot of this, Tracy? It must be horrible lag. Nobody's... Oh, there we go. Did I see what you typed earlier? I don't know. Let me look. How much earlier? I see love it. Oh, you got it. Okay. I'm going to clear this off then. I would say this, Tracy, like if anything, because I know this from the video that you did today in the group, you were talking about the building of this CBD business. I like the positivity and the sort of anything is possible attitude that you had in this lifetime. I think that that's why that's showing up today. I'm only suggesting that because you did put that video up and you were talking about your new business. And so I think that the moxie that we saw in that life, maybe Spirit's trying to call your attention to that so that you can pull on that sort of vibrancy, that sort of can-do attitude, that sort of don't limit yourself, don't, you've lived in, like, it's like almost like a reminder that to say, like, you've lived in times that were far more oppressive or far more, like, harder to deal with in a way, and you did it well. You did it in a way that was uh, quite impressive, friendly, all of that sort of stuff, and you lived a good life. You got done what you needed to do. So keep that in mind as you sort of build this business that you have now, and that idea of anything being possible. Here, I can put the link in here. You're welcome, Tracy. Monica, there's the link. The blue Engelgeist 333 link. Sponge bath? What are you talking about, Andrew? You weirdo. Oh, watch out, kitten. You're scratching up my leg here. What are you doing, you ding dong? You come up here and then you don't know how to be up here. There's not enough room on my lap right now. Oh, the sponge bath one. Yeah, you get to see my butt in that video. That's the one where we do Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton, right? That was my tribute to. I kind of was playing off of Pedro Almodovar's. What was it? Talk to Her. The one where the movie that had the woman that was in the coma, and how the guy, the nurse, fell in love with her and stuff. I had just recently seen that film, and so I was kind of doing a riff or a play on that, even though it was much more tacky and gross. We were supposed to have a hanging IV too, so when that blood spurted everywhere during the number, he was supposed to. We were gonna rip off that joke. Do you remember in the movie Airplane where they were playing the guitar and the guy swings the guitar and he knocks the girl's IV out? That's what we wanted to try and pull off, but we couldn't get a hanging IV, so we just had to spurt the blood from tied to my wrists. Oh, let me check PayPal. Sorry, you guys are like, what are you talking about? Yes, Vicky from the Love Boat, exactly. What was her name? I can't even remember her name, but yes, exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, cool, Monica. So, what did you awesome. What did you want for your charming, Monica? Oh, the Tree of Life is my logo. I collect owls. I'm a medium healer, and I've been nicknamed Sunshine my whole life. Oh, that's cool, Tracy. How funny. Jill Whalen, exactly. Okay, love charming for Monica Friend. Thank you. Okay, so we have the A and we have the M. Ma, ma, or AM. Maybe you fall in love better in the mornings. All right, so let me look at this as far as love is concerned. What do we have going on here? So, Monica, I'm going to say this. Right out of the gate, I feel kind of sad here. I don't know why. I'm looking at this Mary, and she feels sort of sad or forlorn to me. And the reason why I say that is because she's next to this frog, which is upside down. And I kind of feel like when we're looking at love as a whole, right? Or if this reading is about love, to me it feels like deep in your subconscious, maybe there's some sadness from the past or from previous relationships that needs to sort of be cleared away or cleansed. And you're maybe having a hard time doing that, or you had a hard time doing that. And it might be some thoughts still linger there, or some sadness still lingers there. That's the feeling that I'm getting from these two charms and sort of where they're positioned. And then I'm going to go to this other two charms down here in the bottom too, because this is also sort of to me like what's going on in your subconscious during all of this time. So when I look at this, these two, you have the black heart ring down here way deep in the subconscious, and you have the crown. And I kind of feel like the crown is always about honoring one's own sort of like queendom, what we deserve, giving to ourselves what we truly deserve, really loving ourselves and nurturing ourselves, treating ourselves like royalty in a way. And this ring down here says to me that deep down, obviously, you want something that's significant or real. But I get this sense from this ring that I don't necessarily know. It's like sort of so deep down at the bottom of the board, and it's the black heart ring. It makes me wonder: do you actually believe it exists? Now, this is just a question that I propose to you, right? I don't necessarily need an answer, but I kind of wonder, where is your belief about love, like deeply within you? Do you believe that there is such an existence of like this kind of love that I think that you're desirous of? Yet this ring tells me that she may want it, but does she believe it's possible? Does she believe it's out there? And when I look at this frog and this Mary that seems sort of sad to me, it says to me that possibly past experiences where you've maybe thought things were right haven't turned out right, and because of that, or because of the sadness around that, and the sort of need to let go of that, it's kind of altered your belief in whether or not you believe what it is that you want is actually legitimately available to you. I also think that because of where this ring is placed close to this crown, I wonder if you feel that there's some sort of trade-off that has to happen. Like if you're gonna have sort of the love, then you can't have the honor, right? And I don't think that that's true, but I think that this might be a struggle that you're dealing with. That sort of these two charms kind of feel like these two charms a little bit to me. It feels like there's a little bit of an internal struggle happening deep down, where you're kind of like, I think that it's a good thing that this is happening, right? Because I think that it's helping you to get clear on what you believe and what you want, and then figuring out that you can actually have it, right? But it's going to take some time and there's some work involved, okay? Now, up here, what we've got going on, this is all sort of like present mind and higher mind. We have the, I think this is called a catechist, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is sort of the symbol for medical. And to me, this feels like this could represent as healing, but it could also represent as sort of like needing to be fixed in a way, repaired, healed. Hmm. You have the rose, and the rose is upside down and face down. And the rose represents sort of, to me, fragility, but also like beauty, protection. It's a strongly spiritual symbol, but to me, it's upside down and face down. And it feels like it's kind of unable to be acknowledged right now. And then we have the bony fish, which to me does not feel very positive. It feels kind of like a bare bones sort of situation. Let me just look at this for a minute. So, like, where I want to go with this, or what I want to say about this sort of stuff up here, because we have the lizard, which represents dreaming, which would be is a very powerful charm. But I feel like he's heading back. This is the future, right? And he feels like he's heading back from the future to kind of help you clear up what's going on in here. I'm gonna just sort of explain to you what's going on. Like, I would feel better if the lizard were like this, heading out into the future, right? Because to me, it would say, okay, we're moving on towards our dreams, right? Lizard being that the representation of the dreaming, right? But he's traveling back to this rose. He's traveling back to this sort of medical symbol. To me, I wonder if I almost want to say, and this is going to sound strange, but I almost want to say that like maybe some of the things that you have going on around love, or some of the past experiences that you have around going on around love, have actually caused you physical discomfort or pain, have actually maybe caused you sort of um, uh, disease in a way, and I mean that like dis-ease, not like disease, but this is telling me that it's taken away this black die sitting on both of these two charms next to this sort of dead fish, to me makes me feel like this bony fish makes me feel like the sort of the remnants of old relationships, or the whatever that is. It may haunt you, and it sort of still takes away some of your ability to um, flourish, like, and to believe. And so I feel like the dream is coming back from the future to help you kind of rectify all of this or get clear. And that's the work that you're doing down here in all of these charms. And when you start to get clear, this is what I want to say with this. When you start to get clear, we have the first chakra stone up here in the higher mind. It's like we need to sort of like figure out and sort out our thoughts, both subconsciously and in the higher mind, and get them sort of squared away, clear away sort of the debris of these dice, and kind of get these turned upright, and then ground in them, ground in the knowing of the possibility of them. I think then love is maybe possible, but right now I don't necessarily see love on this board because I feel like you're still kind of healing. That's this charm here. That's this cleansing charm here. These bones, this fish bones almost feels like the bones are the remnants of an old relationship that's sort of still maybe haunting you. And then the significance of these dice, like I'm trying to figure out what these dice mean. This 5, 4, and 3 could be a countdown. Oh, wait. Is this A significant at all, Monica? Does this mean anything to you? I was wondering if this M was M for Monica. It just dawned on me. And then I was wondering if maybe these were initials. And then I was like, wait, what are her initials? Is any of this making sense to you, Monica? Okay. Hence the ring. Okay. And whether or not you're fully sure that this marriage is going to work. Okay. That makes sense now that you just said that. So she says, for those of you that can't see, I don't know how many YouTubers I have or if I even have YouTubers. It says, that makes so much sense. My husband and I were getting a divorce. I moved out and everything. And then we decided to get back together, which is probably why the lizard is coming back. We're still in the process of figuring out if it's going to work or not. Doesn't ring a bell for an A, but I was wondering the same. Yeah, these dice to me are interesting too because I can't really get a pull on them. Like I'm not sure what this is. It's a 5, 4, and a 3. And right now I have to say this, Monica. This really feels like this is you in the now. I don't see even like it's almost like this is not telling me anything about the future other than the fact that we have this 4 and this 3 hanging out over here. That being a 7 per se. I don't know if that necessarily means anything, but this lizard is actually coming from the future. Like if it feels like he's coming in out of the future to come in here and sort of fix things or make things better. But the question is I kind of get the sense that like there's this question of your worth that's here. And it's a big important question. I think that you know your worth and you know what you deserve. This crown couldn't be any more like upright and in your face, right? And I think that maybe there's been moments where you haven't felt that way. You haven't felt like you've been treated that way. That's why this rose is turned over. And there's definitely like I want to say that there's things from like the past or whatever within this relationship that need to sort of be resolved or cleansed away. And I don't know how that's going to come about. I feel like you may want it, but you might be the one doing the sort of work to get it. What are these dice? Can you explain these dice to me, please? Monica, when were you all married? I've been asking my guides what I should do. I've been in my mind so much about this. I love him and want to make it work, but he's so negative and isn't very supportive, so it's hard. I feel like that's kind of the case. Like that's the thing, and I think that you know that you deserve more. And the problem is you're not sure that this marriage is strong enough to handle it. And I also, I mean, I'm gonna be very blunt, Monica. I kind of feel like this is your vision of the relationship right now. It's sort of like a skeleton of what it once was. And it's kind of in need of healing and repair, and you might even be in need of healing and repair, like your heart might be hurt, right? I think that you have some really strong, beautiful charms here, like Mary, the grounding stone, the dreaming, the crown. There's a lot. You even have the rose and the healing, the medical charm there. Those are all strong charms that sort of represent you. The frog, even in of himself, is a strong charm too, but he's flipped over and on, upside down. And this is really about, like, I sense that, like, when I'm looking at this isn't necessarily about you and your relationship to him as much as it's about your relationship to yourself and getting clear on that and figuring out whether or not you still want to take on anything more, or if he's going to change. Can I ask, like, would 5, 4, or 3 be anything significant as to, like, maybe the month that you guys were married in, or the dates? Like, is there, like, 5, 3, or 5? I don't know what these 3 dice are. For some reason, I'm drawing a complete and utter blank on these 3 dice. This 5 here too is sort of sitting on this rose, which it kind of bothers me. It gives me this funny feeling like, did this happen 5 months ago? Did this start 5 months ago where it started to really, like, fall apart? Did he start being really mean to you, or sort of, I feel like this is sort of sitting on you, like not allowing you to sort of access your own protection, your own beauty, your own grace, that kind of a thing. Hi, Arthur. What you doing? Hi. What's up? You want to come up here? Come here. Hi, buddy. Oh, you get so fat. You're starting to get fat and heavy. Hi. Oh, now you're going? Okay, bye. God, cats can't make up their minds. Kittens are just all over the place. February 21st. No, that wouldn't work. That's like 2/21. I don't know what this 543 is. Like, I mean, it could be a countdown of some sort, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like counting down to some sort of an answer. 7 months ago is when it all started. Was 5 months ago significant though? Was something really, like, I just feel like this 5 is like sitting on this rose. Like, um, to me, it just, I don't know. I mean, I even feel like anything the only thing that you've got going on in the future is this 4 and this 3, and I'm not even exactly sure what they mean. The lizard to me would be about dreaming for things to work, but it feels like it's like returning and retreating from the future and kind of coming back to try and heal the now. Like, I feel like he's kind of rushing here to sort of fix what's going on here. Sorry, knock that out of uh, knock that out of focus. And I also think with that grounding stone up there, it says to me that it would be a good idea for you to ground in all of this to help you to get clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you're, like, kind of willing to put up with. I mean, I don't want to give you any sort of definitive answers as to which way you should go, one way or the other. It just feels to me that like grounding would be a good thing while you're dealing with the emotionality of all of this. I do love that Mary's standing upright, even though she's down in your subconscious. She's face up and upright, like she's strong. She has grace. She has strength. She may be a little bit sad, but I think that she is. She definitely sort of like I want to say like she knows her worth, especially with that crown down there. That's a good idea. I haven't grounded in a while. I meditated, but it's snowing, so it's been hard to put my feet on the ground. LOL. Yeah, I just think that that's sort of what's being asked in the higher mind, and it's also near a lot of what's going on up here. So I think it might be a good activity to help you to sort through some of this. I mean, I'm gonna say this, Monica. I kind of feel like you're saying you're worried and you're asking your guides for the answers. I kind of feel like you already know your answer. Is that correct? Can you give me a yes or no on that? Because when I look at these charms, it feels to me like without me needing to say any answer, I think you already know your answer. And you may not be listening to it. I love how the music got all high as I was saying that, like the timing on that music, like really. And I think that's what that grounding stone is doing, sitting up there in the higher mind, is it's like saying, okay, we know what we need. Yeah, you do agree. I know. I know, Monica, I can feel it. It's like you know what you need, and you need to ground in that and sort of trust that and move forward in that. But it may take you some time, and that's totally acceptable. You think that's what the dice are saying? Is that countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? I think so too. But I will say this now that we're like agreeing to that. This 5 is black, the 4 is black, but then the 3 becomes white. And I sort of feel like, so it's like it's dark now, it's dark, maybe for a little while, or feel it's dark and heavy, but it will begin to lighten as we get closer to the end of the countdown. Does that make sense? And in the end of all of this, like I do think, regardless of what you decide to do, because I'm not suggesting anything should be done other than you trusting your own internal voice, because I think that you have it. I can see that you have it with these charms. But this is about sort of getting down that countdown and getting back to this place of this crown and this, the strength of this Mary. Hey, what are you doing, you little shit? God, you're getting so big. God, I love you. You ding dong. Big furry ding dong. So, Monica, do you need to take a picture of this? Okay. Awesome. I'm going to clear the board then. Oh, hey, be nice, you guys. Don't chase each other. Tammy just sent over cash. Hey, Tammy. What did you want your charming to be on? Oh, did you buy two? I didn't even notice. Did you? Shit. I just saw the one. Did you send them over separately? Oh, I didn't see the first one. I'm sorry. I only saw Tracy's. Okay, so Tammy, you just want on whatever? You don't have a particular topic or anything? You just want me to charm and talk and charm? One at the start. Yes. I didn't mean to ignore you. I didn't see it. I'm sorry, Tammy. You should have spoke up. I didn't see it. I saw you said you wanted one, and then I saw Tracy's payment in there. So I'm sorry about that. I'm a bad charmer. Bad charmer. Whatever. All right, let's just see. We'll just do general love. Okay. Chunk it up for Tammy Sylvester. Thank you, Spirit. Tell me the general love timing for Tammy Sylvester. Oh, Jesus, Tammy. What the fuck? Okay. Oh my god. What is this? Prednisone? What do we got going on here? This is a lot, Tammy. Alright. You got all the good letters for a Scrabble game. Alright, so somebody put this in the word translator. I don't think we can get very many words out of this. Zoepvse. Zoepvs. Alright, so let's look at what we got going on here. General love charming. Alright, so I'm going to say this right out of the gate. We have the sexual side up on this card, so that's good. What sign is this? I gotta see. Oh, this is a sign of Cancer. And what is going on in this card coin? Oh my god, he is giving her some service. So, let's just say this, Tammy. I feel like hope is not a loss, but I kind of feel like because it's sort of spun upside down, you might be sort of like getting to the end of your rope, if that makes any sense. There is the grand transformation here that's happening, and the butterfly always sort of symbolizes kind of, you know, this idea of hopefully like exploding forth in like joy, happiness, beauty, all of that sort of thing. So I think that there's an opportunity in this butterfly for you. Let me see what these two are. Dream is one, faith is the other. Both are upside down. I kind of get the sense that, like, when I look at these two, that there might have been, see Mary vagina steaming word. Oh my god. What I think is going on here is that it feels like maybe your faith and your dream are kind of slipping away. And hope is the last thing that you're sort of sitting on right now with that steamy vagina. um, I think you're desirous of transforming the situation, but you don't know how. But the opportunity to do so is here. I really feel like down here in the corner you have this this dice down here that's deep in the subconscious in the future, which says cannot predict now. And what I feel like this means is that there is like gonna be no clarity for you coming up in the future, as far as whatever's going on with you in your love situation. I feel like there's a little bit of confusion happening here. It's like, to me, like there's this focus on wanting to be sort of joined and have this kind of connection, right? But we've also sort of maybe lost faith in it a little bit. We're holding on to some hope and we've got still a little bit of hope left, but it's like we're kind of losing that hope. And we need to sort of transform that, but we're having a hard time figuring out how. Can you not eat the paper? No, go. We're not going to have paper eating cats in here. Go. So to me, it sort of feels like you're not really quite sure how right now. When I look at this dice with the three here, to me, this feels like you in the middle, and it's like there's two different possibilities or distinct possibilities for you to choose in this situation. Like, I almost feel like this three is making me feel like I can either stay and kind of wait it out, or I can ditch out, or go a different route, kind of thing. When I'm looking at like the future for you, like we have this cannot predict out now, which to me says that there's like maybe going to be some more confusion coming down the pipe. But these other three charms here say to me, there is an opportunity here to trust your intuition. This is the sixth chakra and it's amethyst. It's all about like intuition and trusting it. You have the mood ring, which says to me that your moods are going to be really kind of key. Keeping your mood high, your vibe high, your belief high is going to be important. You also have the Reiki stone here, but it is face down, which says to me that there is a certain amount of healing that you can provide to yourself. It's Shokure. But it kind of remains to be seen whether or not you will be able to do that, and this is all going to be dependent upon your mood. Like, really, when I look at this all, it kind of feels like to me, like, can you believe in this as a possibility? Is sort of what I'm looking at all of this. Do you believe this is actually going to happen? And I think that your answer right now, when I look at these charms, might be sort of leaning more towards the side of no. But I think that you don't like that or you don't want that. I think that when you first started out in this, you had all three of these charms upright. This dream, hope, and faith. Like, you were super excited. You know, this is like a beautiful, like, power dream team here. You felt connected. You felt like, and I still think you want that connection, and you still may feel some of that connection. That's kind of what's holding you here. But somewhere along the way, like the faith and the idea of the dream has sort of slipped, and hope is kind of also beginning to slip a little bit. And when I look at this three, it's sort of like, do I stay or do I go kind of thing. You know, caught in the middle between two different answers. What? Wait, what happened? Wait, what are you guys saying? I'm missing what you guys are saying. You guys are spelling shit and I don't even know. What were the words? All good, better than a bad Santa. Mary, vaginal scheming works. Epstein, at the end of his rope. Perverse, pose, seep. Go see a doctor, seriously. Another what the fuck moment. Suppose that's too many letters. Broke the magic 8 ball. Ask again later. LOL. Eve. Yeah, Tammy, they can be hard. And I feel like you're in the position right now. Honestly, I feel like I have my doubts being in Cali for 40 years and giving that life up for Podunk, Indiana. I just feel like there's this part of you that kind of, like, I feel like this could go either way. It's really dependent on how you choose to view it. The question is, see, there's this other component to all of this, which is the dude. And I don't know what he's up to. I kind of feel like he's not responding in the way that you need him to respond so that you can keep this hope and this dream and this faith going. And that's part of the problem. And that's part of this like doubt that we have going on down here moving into the future. Like, I don't think he's going to show up to the plate in the way that you need him to. But this mood ring and these 3 charms here make me feel like there is a possibility, like your moods are going to be important. What you choose to focus on is important. If you're letting things slip right now or your faith slip, then you're kind of also slipping away from the situation. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't want to leave you with this false sense of hope of, oh, like, stay positive and keep a bright mind and he's going to show up, right? Because I kind of get the feeling that he's the unknown factor in all of this, and I think that you're looking to him for cues when that's what this mood ring is about. That's what this transformation is about. It's like the cues need to come from within you. Like if you want, like I kind of want to say, like if you want this love with him, then you need to be willing to accept like however it's going to come. And if he's not showing up anytime soon, either you have to be okay with that and trust that and keep your mood high and wait it out, and maybe a prediction or some sort of understanding can come down the line. Because I think at one point in time it was good. These 3 were all upright. Does he want you to come to Indiana, Tammy? You're in California? I thought you were in Indiana. I'm confused. I thought he was supposed to be coming to you. She's in Indiana. That's what I thought. He's in California. And you hate California. You don't want to go there. So why is him coming to you not an option? Because I kind of feel like he's not showing up when I look at these charms. Has it been discussed? Does he show no interest? Or is he blowing smoke up your ass and saying he's going to be there and then doesn't do what he's supposed to do to make it? Can I pull a couple of cards for you, Tammy? Just give me a yes so I have your permission. Because I don't want to read cards like on you if you're not okay with that. I just want to find out if you need to go to California or not. Okay, 1 second. See that I'll believe it when I see it sort of thing is already you not believing. That's the loss of the hope and the faith and the dream. Right? Because you're already treating it like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. So you're already writing it off as if it's not happening. That's kind of blocking that transformation of that butterfly. And the music's getting really loud, so I know that like Spirit is saying, yeah, bitch, you're right. That's what Spirit's telling me. So let me see what's going on here. Should Tammy go to California? She hates California. Can I ask you, Tammy, when was the last time you were in California? How long ago? Just give me like a timeline, or just say like how many years. How long ago was it before you were in California, or when you were in California? Never. So you've... Oh, Tammy, will you shut up with the liberal shit? Like, literally, you've never been and you hate it just because of political beliefs? You hate a place that you've never been to? That's hilarious. All right, so I'm going to say this, Tammy. Because I'm super liberal, so I don't understand. If you can pay me for charmings and listen to my gay ass talk to you all night, you could live in California, girl. I'm just saying. California's got better weather than Indiana. Well, actually, that's not true. It just burned down, so maybe it doesn't anymore. But I grew up in California, so I don't know. I mean, I don't live in California anymore, and I don't know that I'll ever go back. But it's not because I hate it. Um, but if I can live in Texas, you could certainly live in California. I can say that because I don't necessarily agree with what goes on here politically or agree with the mindset that's here. Yes, I do want to go, but I'm still staying in the South and going to Pensacola, which isn't much different, probably. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I just think it's funny that you're making us like, like you're in love or you want to be in love and you want to have this dream and you want to have this connection, yet you're unwilling to put yourself in California for fear that it's too liberal. You can go to OC. It's very conservative and Republican there, Orange County, and it's beautiful there. Lots of like, rich, wealthy white people that live by the beach that like vote Republican. So it's not all, there are pockets of, conservative Republicans if you want to seek that out so that you can be in California with him. But let me show you the cards that come up for you really quick. So you have the Two of Swords. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but you have the Two of Swords. And to me, this feels like crossed at the mind, like you're having a hard time. You can't really trust your intuition around this one. It feels like you're stuck. You and him might be colliding over who should do what by when, that sort of a thing. The goal here with that green ribbon around it feels like to me that you guys want something good and you want to come together, but like one of you is going to have to budge. One of you is going to have to make the move. And it kind of feels like to me that you guys are at a stalemate or not necessarily sure who's going to move first, right? Nobody's willing to commit. Everybody wants to like say that they want something, but they don't want it bad enough to like inconvenience themselves or push themselves beyond whatever it is that they're comfortable doing in their life, right? Now, the second card, which is interesting to me because this definitely indicates a move, is the Chariot. And I love how these two horses are kind of like, sort of nuzzling one another and moving forward at a very fast pace with the energy of the sun. The Chariot always signifies in tarot readings fast movement towards something, celebration sometimes as a rule, like, parading in the streets, that sort of a thing. The Chariot also can represent like feeling out of control because the movement is so fast that we don't necessarily feel as though we can control what's going on, right? But when I look at this, to me, I'm looking at this demure, beautiful, Republican white horse. She's kind of bowed her head and said, okay, maybe I'll go to sunny California. I don't have to look at the liberals, but I need to be with my man. I'm just teasing you, Tammy. But that is a possibility. Like, that makes me think that maybe the idea of going might be good. Maybe you might want to just go for a visit. Not necessarily for a permanent stay, but go and try and visit and see if it's not something that you could do, okay? I don't want to say that you have to go or that you're going to go, but it might be worth a visit to see. Come on, get back in focus, please. Might be worth going for a visit to see what, California might be all about. Okay? Sorry, I'm just kind of trying to move this so you guys can see the cards. Then the last card is the Six of Cups. And when I look at this card, this feels like a whole lot of kind of love pouring forth. To me, this feels like sort of a coming together, a joy, a happiness, even an abundance, really. But the question is do we trust ourselves enough to sort of take the leap? Let me see what you're saying. Mary says she thinks she met me before in California. LOL, way too high cost. Haha, Orange County. Well, I mean, Bear Lake. Where's Bear Lake? Is that in California? Trying to lose some weight, so I said Marge, his mom, is here. We are sight unseen. And oh, okay. So there's that. Okay, so you haven't seen each other yet. I have to brick the grill in the back and break the grill in the back in 10 minutes. So does that mean that, Mary, you need to get to your charming? It's the whole crazy immigration thing, and he says he's ready for a change. He grew up here. We went to school together. Okay. So do you think, like, let me ask you this, Tammy. Do you think he's coming to you? I already know your answer, but I want to hear you say it. Bitch gotta make some waffles. I mean, you think he's coming. See, I don't think you do. I think you doubt it, judging from all of this here. But if you say that you believe that he's coming, then great. I think that then you should just sit tight, continue to work on yourself and lose the weight that you want to lose so that you feel comfortable when he gets there, and go with that. But I feel like you're losing hope and you're sort of, not fully in belief that it's ever going to happen. Or if it does happen, it's not going to be right. That's my feeling. But I do think from these three charms here that there is a possibility that things could be right if you really clock your mood, check your intuition, and try and like bring about this idea of like, this energy of staying positive and healing yourself around this relationship. It could work. It says this cannot predict now feels to me like there's something deep-seated inside of you that doesn't necessarily believe that this is going to work out. Maybe you guys need to see one another. Maybe this whole sight unseen thing is not good for you. Maybe that's too much of a mitigating factor where it's creating too much fear for you, where you're thinking, well, even if he did come here and he did see me, he wouldn't want me. So maybe you need to get that out of the way. Get that fear out of the way, because if he sees you and he doesn't want you, then why entertain this? I'm worried I have money, he doesn't. Is that why he's coming? I don't know. That's a possibility. But see, I don't necessarily know that he's coming. And if you're worried that it's about money, then, that's something that, again, it's another mitigating factor that you need to deal with before he gets there. It's something you need to talk to him about. It's something you need to get to know him about. You need to trust your intuition around it. If you're already intuiting these fears or worrying about these things, then, you know, these are valid questions. I would say trust your intuition around these things. Kelly's saying, get out of your own way, Kelly Talbot. She will, Kelly. She's a smart lady. That's the thing. This stuff is scary too, you know? Like, but I also think that there's an added layer of fear when you don't necessarily feel like they know what you look like, or you don't know what their motives are. I mean, this all makes sense to me as to why she would be worried, why these charms would be this way. It's kind of like some of this scenario has kind of clouded her ability to really gauge what's going on. And that might be this transformation butterfly I flipped over. Like maybe some of these things need to be brought to the surface and really looked at, so that you can flip this over, have this transformation of the relationship, regain that faith and that hope, and you know, bring that about. But you have to trust that you're enough. Yeah, Kelly says, yes, I agree. Go visit, see if it's your fit. But yes, very scary. It can be, you know? And it's also like, you know, a whole layer of vulnerability that we're, you know, everybody wants love, everybody wants to be validated, everybody wants to be, you know, and then when you start entertaining that idea and you open yourself up to it, and then they don't know everything about you, or, I mean, everybody goes through this, even if they've seen each other. You know, we worry, oh, well, maybe they like this part of me, but what if they see that part of me? You know, that's a very, like, common, normal behavior. He is the sweetest man. Then, after being married and widowed, it's scary to start anew. Oh, totally. I get it, Tammy. And I think that you're being very brave about it. And I also think that you're not, you know, asking these questions doesn't hurt, right? Like, it's smart because you are widowed, you have your daughter, you've been through a lot. It's, you know, it is a lot to start new. It's a lot to let somebody else in. But if it's genuinely a sweet man and you really feel that, then there's hope that he's not necessarily after your money. I mean, I would hope that's not the case. But I would, like me personally, I would rather him see me first if I felt any sort of self-consciousness around how I looked or appeared, and I thought that that might be a factor in whether or not he was able to be with me. I mean, this is just me personally. I would get that out of the way immediately. Because there's no amount of weight that I could lose that doesn't say that, like, I'm not in a relationship with you and a year later I've got that weight back and then you're, like, dumping me then. You know? I don't want any of that fucking hanging over my head. He's 6'2", 205 and hot. Well, that's good. Will you leave the kitten alone, you guys? Alright, I'm going to pull up these charms, unless you want to take a picture of this. You need to send him a picture of you, Tammy. Don't hide in the shadows, you know? Oh my god, the cat just literally leaped over the dog. Hey, Black Tree. Mary, are you ready for your charming? I just want to move this on because I know Mary has to go to her grill to make some waffles. Do you want... And quite frankly, I have to say this, Tammy, 6'2" and 205, that's tiny. That's a skinny motherfucker. I want him 6'2" and like 250, maybe even 300 pounds. I want a big man. I want a man's man. I don't want some Finn Reed blowing in the breeze. 205, that's too skinny at 6'2". I would want at least 225, 230, at least. He might be too skinny for you, damn it. General. Okay, thank you, Mary. All right, so let's see. What does Mary need to know? What does Mary need to know? Okay, Mary, what's going on here? All right, so let's go E, E, N, N. We got a lot of doubles here. Then we got another E, triple E. Neen. We have both of the Egyptian hieroglyph buttons next to the manifestation tree of Abraham Hicks. So I'm going to say right out of the gate, I feel like, all right, ready? Here we go. Your emotions are running a little bit high. I feel like they're controlling the show a little bit right now. Maybe they're not high, but I feel like they sort of like this heart being in the center of everything, and then we have this knowledge on either side, right? They feel like it feels like maybe your emotional side is maybe getting the better of what you know to be true. Your knowledge base, both of these buttons showing up here say to me that your knowledge is strong and valid, and what you know to be true deep within you is really should be what's being heeded right here. The heart isn't wrong though. It just feels like it's screwing up your ability to manifest what it is you need right now. That's why this Abraham Hicks charm is turned over the heart. Like it feels to me like you're having a little bit of a you might be relying a little bit too much on like sort of past emotions or past experiences that are sort of upsetting or harmful, and it's affecting your ability to remain in your knowledge and manifest what it is that you want. Um, I feel like this arrow says to me we had this clear idea of where we wanted to go and the trajectory we were going to follow. And I think that now, presently, we've kind of lost sight of that a little bit, or we've fallen off track with it a little bit. You do have the personal power horse here. So to me, it feels like like in the past, we had a little bit more self-assuredness. We felt a little bit more in control, a little bit more empowered. Right now, it's not that we're not empowered. We're just sort of a little confused, it feels like to me. You do have the guardian angel charm here, which is nice. I like that she's present and trying to help you sort through all this. You need to continue to invite her in. If you're not inviting her in, call her in. Or him, whichever your guardian angel is. Get used to the idea of having one and start to bring them in on this. Start to have them help you sort of heal the pain of your past or anything that might be carrying on that's affecting your now that you don't need to allow to affect your now, because what we want to do is we want to use both of these buttons that are such strong and good knowledge to flip this and start to grow in the direction and manifest what it is that we do want. Okay? You have the barbell with the dog on it, which says to me that there is a bunch, you've been through like probably the ringer and you've done a lot of work, but you also still are able to remain loyal. I kind of feel like the dog being upside down, because this is the obedient dog. To me, it feels like you might be loyal to people that don't necessarily deserve it anymore. That's why he's laying over this dumbbell, is I feel like he's been worked hard and he's still being obedient, and it's like it's time to like not do that. Like I feel like this guardian angel is almost trying to get you to stop doing that. And with this catcher's mitt here, this catcher charm right here, which is right next to all of this, it feels like maybe you've been catching other people's bullshit for far too long. I know that sounds kind of funny, but that's like sort of what it looks like to me. Is it sort of feels like you've maybe been obedient to situations that have been too hard on you, and you've been sort of, he's all covered in all this catcher's gear, like the mask and the glove and the chest piece. It just feels like you've sort of like put on all your armor and have sort of like waited for it to continually be dished out to you, and it's like it's time to stop. Like just let that shit go. Is kind of how I feel with this. And that's what this guardian angel is here helping you do, is to sort of not have to be in that role anymore, that position. So going into the future, and down in your subconscious, you have the grounding stone, and then you have the spider upside down. Spider's all about sort of communication, writing, maybe writing down your thoughts, journaling, that sort of thing. Um, I think that this being upside down, this might help to give you some clarity. If you were like to ground and maybe write about stuff or chronicle stuff, try and sort things out on paper, maybe how you're feeling, what you're going to go, where your goals are, how you're going to get there. That might help you a little bit. I also feel like this alien charm, even though he's face down, this feels like outside voices that are not right. Period. It just feels like to me that there's like input coming at you from other places that just is off, and it's like not right. It's totally alien. It doesn't work. And it's kind of, it's not helping with this situation here. The good thing about this situation here is you are trying to manifest, and you do have this great knowledge, and you do have this wonderful heart about you, although it's been maybe hurt or taken advantage of over time, and it is a little bit affected by that. You haven't given up hope, and I like that. We have the frog here. The frog shows up a second time tonight, but he's also again on his upside down. And to me, this is about cleansing. Like I always say that about frogs. They call in the rain to bring in the cleansing. It's funny, frogs are playing in the background right now in this music. They're calling in the rain. And this says to me that we have the ability to bring in our own healing, our own cleansing, our own shedding. And it's like, it's time for you to do that, or maybe not just yet, but it will be time for you to do that at a certain point. Keep that in mind and flip this over and bring that in. Allow yourself to like wash yourself free. You'll do that possibly through this grounding and this writing and getting clear on what it is you want and what you're willing to deal with going forward. In the future stuff, you only have two charms to me, and one is the Confucius charm in the higher mind upside down, which says to me, like, there might be this situation where you're not necessarily trusting your own knowledge. And again, you have really strong knowledge with these two buttons here. And then you also have the football helmet down here, which symbolizes sort of protection, playing a different game altogether. Moving on to a new field is kind of how I feel this is too. But I think that you won't get to this new field until you start to get clear on what it is that you want and how it is you want to go there. You also have to really come in contact with the fact that you have the skill set to maneuver it. You have the intelligence too, but you might be denying that in the future. The three dice makes me feel like there's three people involved in this situation or in this kind of melee here. I'm not sure if there's only three, but I feel like there's three significant players. Maybe you being one of them, or it could be you and then three other people. But I feel like they're sort of part of all of this kind of thing that's going on here. And this really feels like this series of charms right here really feels like to me that you're trying to get out from under whatever's limiting you so that you can sort of shoot forward into your future. But it feels like in the past, maybe in the like recent months before now, you were much clearer on how you were going to do that, and you might be sort of feeling a little bit clouded. But again, I want to say that you can find that clarity through grounding and writing, through getting clear by like putting your thoughts to paper, your goals to paper, and starting to watch yourself tick them off. Stop being obedient to situations that are only causing you like undue stress and like a lot of work that you don't really need anymore. Call in that cleansing, that opportunity to like start anew. Don't listen to outside voices and trust yourself and your own intuition, your own knowledge. And I really believe that this manifestation charm, this Abraham Hicks magnet here, it's here because it says to me that you have the power and the capacity to sort of manifest whatever it is you want, but you need to sort of understand that um, you can do that and you deserve it. And I feel like some of your outside scenarios, they don't necessarily acknowledge you in that way or validate you in that way. So it's hard to kind of stay in that mindset. Does that make sense? Neener. Roach. When's Roach? Hello, so true. I'm ready to leave now, but Roach, my heart will leave intact. It is intact. It's actually very strong. You know, you have the hardened heart here, which says to me that, you know, there's a few battle scars on it, but it's still intact. It's still beautiful. It's still there. It's still big and bright and hasn't given up hope. You know, it's not, to me, I don't think that it's, sort of damaged in any way. You know, those scars that I see on that hardened heart are like sort of knowledge, wisdom. It's you and 3 brothers. Oh, Roach is her fur baby. Take Roach with you then. You will figure it out. I think that you're in the process of figuring it out. That's what all of this is here. Try not to allow for too much inside or outside input, though. That's my thing. Trust yourself. Those buttons say to me that you have the knowledge within you. Can you guys see on this video? Do you see this right over here? Look at the light. This is from my ring light, but I think that's the light from the crystal, from the light hitting the crystal. Do you see that little ring of orb of light? That's wild. Because when I look at the desk, I don't necessarily see that. And it's not from the ring light, because the ring light's over to the side, but it's like bouncing off that crystal and creating that round orb of light on the desk, on the video. But I don't, when I look at the desk in real time, like here, I don't see that orb of light. That's so strange. Yeah, it's kind of pretty, right? It's very golden. It's really interesting. That's the crystal from my pointer that fell out. Emily, I'm doing charm readings for $25 tonight. So if you were interested in buying one, you would need to speak up very soon, because after this charming, I'm about to sign off because I've been on for 2 hours. If you want a free reading, you can come back on a night when we're doing the How I Can Help You hour, which is usually on Tuesday evenings. And I'll do, like, I do card pulls then for people for free. I don't do charmings. So. And I also do the morning readings, the morning forecasts every day. Those are shared amongst the collective for everyone. So does that make sense, Mary? If it does, let me know if I can clear the board. You would use this link and you would send $25 to the PayPal. There's a PayPal link in there, in that Linktree link that I just sent over. You're welcome, Mary. Do you need to screenshot it or do you want me to just clear the board? Okay, thank you, Mary. Neen! Triple E Neens! Aw, thanks, Andrew. Andrew says, if you are new, Dan is amazing. He's created such a wonderful community. Keep coming back. Andrew, I didn't create it. It's all the people that come here that create it. You're trying to send payment? And that is cool. Trying to find the link. If you hit the Linktree link that I'm putting in the chat, like if you hit that, it will take you to a link tree and it says follow me on Instagram, PayPal, join the Facebook group, follow, subscribe on YouTube, or personal business page. So any one of those links, if you tap on one of those buttons, it's going to take you to where those buttons say. So one is my Instagram, the second one is my PayPal. So if you hit that link, it's going to take you to PayPal, and then you type in the amount of money and hit next, barring that you have a PayPal account. Hopefully you do. You can also follow me on Instagram, Emily, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel from there, which I suggest everybody does. I hope all of you have subscriptions at both places. God forbid you should miss me. Ever. You guys are going to forget that I shaved off all my hair when I changed the camera back, so don't freak out when I turn the camera back the other way. But Emily, if you can't do it tonight too, it's okay. If you don't have a PayPal, we can always set it up for another night. You can set up your PayPal. I do charmings twice weekly on Wednesday nights and Friday nights. So it's not something that, like, if you're having trouble right now, I'm around. Okay. Just let me know when it goes through. And then I just need a subject that you want me to charm on. Like, if it's love or career or just a general charming. Oh, perfect. It went through, dear. I see it. Awesome. Yep, I see it. I got the email. So, what do you want your charming to be on? Just give me a subject matter. Hi, babe. I know. We're at 2 hours. I know. After this one charming, and then I'll be free. I will come and cuddle with you. I love you. Yes, I do. Here's a baby home. Yes, you are. I love you. Daddy has to work so you can have Kindle, bitch. I'll spank you. Okay, you spanking. Twin flame and friendship. Okay, let's see what's going to happen with that. Power for the twin flame for Emily Williams. Let's see what kind of twin flame and friendship. Oh shit, whoops, sorry. So one of the Scrabble tiles went flying way out. So 1 second. Let's see what we've got going on here. We got a they and a T. T, V, E, and Y. All right, so okay, so Emily, I'm just gonna go through with this and tell you what I see. It's sort of funny. I get a kind of a positive feeling from these charms right out of the gate. I know that you're asking like two different things. You're saying twin flame and friendship. But what it mean, what I'm not clear on, and maybe you can just, without giving me too much information, I want to know: are you talking about friendship with somebody that might be a twin flame? Are you trying to discern whether or not it's a twin flame relationship or just a friendship? Hold on 1 second. Stop licking his penis. Thank you. This is not that kind of a household. Are you? And that wasn't directed at you, Emily. That was directed at my dog. Just that's okay. You can lick all the penis that you'd like, Emily. Just kidding. But my question is: are you trying to discern whether or not somebody is a friend versus a twin flame? And I asked for a specific reason, so just give me a sort of a yes or a no on that, please. Both, I think. Wait, hold on, I'm kind of confused. We're talking about one person here, correct? I want to make sure that you're asking about one person, whether it's one thing or another, correct? Is that what you're asking? Yes, okay, perfect. Now, this is why I'm gonna go there. I have charms in here that have to do with twin flame, right? I have actually two halves of a heart. And like that, the with the amount of charms that are in there, for that to come out would be really miraculous, to be honest. But it's funny because you have this like, yeah, I think, and then you have no doubt up here, which those first make me think it's kind of playful and positive, whatever this relationship is that we're talking about. And it also, I like that you have this: you can if you think you can, right? So there's also this sort of playfulness, positive action happening here. Underneath here, we have the Egyptian button, which is like sort of the ancient knowledge kind of thing, and it's right next to the grounding stone, right? Even though the grounding stone is flipped over. So to me, this feels like what these are saying to me is it's almost like we have this knowledge, this like old, like maybe soul-based knowledge within us, and it's telling us that if we believe in it, it can be true, and if we ground in it even more so into the future, this could be real and true too. But to me, this is like the future, right? So I don't necessarily feel as though we've gotten a chance to really ground in the reality of that. Now I'm going to go back to the present, right? I feel like, and give me a yes or no, can I ask, does he drink a little too much, or is there some sort of like, maybe not necessarily a substance abuse issue, but maybe he doesn't take things as seriously as you would like? He might be a little bit messy or have some issues around drinking or that sort of thing, because we have this cocktail right dead in the center, and it makes me think that there's hard work. We have the sewing machine here too next to him. So to me, it feels like maybe there might be a little bit of an issue around there. I'm just waiting for a yes on that. If there is a yes, Emily. You also have the grace charm here that's kind of like, and to me, this almost feels like this might be you in this situation, and he might be a little bit, I don't know, like this cocktail here makes me a little nervous. Like in the sense that I feel like sometimes his behavior makes us question whether or not he's the right one for us. Does that make sense to you at all? You also have the dumbbell up here, which is like hard work. So it says to me that you might be working your higher mind a little bit, but Vishnu is here, which is really beneficial. So it feels like sort of God is like kind of looking down upon the two of you in a very positive way. Are you there, Emily? I'm just sort of waiting for, does this make sense or am I totally off base here, dear? Yes, okay, thank you. This scissors says to me, it kind of feels like it's going along here, and some of this stuff needs to be cut away, or we need to cut ourselves away from all of this, this drama. If like we were free of this drama, it would be kind of perfect, is kind of how I feel. Or not that like perfect really exists, but I feel like there would be something really good here. Um, and then you have the sign for Libra here, and you have this no doubt in the future, right? We have the turtle, which represents to me like sort of Mother Earth or the nature of like Mother Earth. So we have Mother Earth, we have Vishnu. We also have the bull, which could be Taurus, or this could be like stubbornness. Um, Let me just look at this for a minute. Let me ask you this too: do they live a fair distance away? Or are they like kind of? Because I feel like when I'm looking at this airplane, it's giving me this idea of distance, or that they might possibly be leaving at some point. Does any of that make sense to you? Stubbornness for sure on his part or yours? This jet plane makes me feel funny. Like I feel like either there's already a distance between the two of you, or there's about to be one created. They moved away recently but came back. Okay. Um, Let me just continue to look at this. So in the future, we have this key with the heart on it, which is really kind of sweet. We have the elephant, which to me is definitely a symbol of sort of wisdom, memory, family, that sort of a thing. It's also very strong and grounded. We also have this grounding stone down here, which is kind of important. We want to flip this over and utilize this as we go into the future with this relationship. And then you have over here with an attitude of gratitude, your good can only increase, which is also like this you can if you think you can sort of attitude. So there's this really open mind and positivity that I feel like you have or that you're exuding with this situation. Do I think that, I don't know if are you a Libra or is he a Libra? Though you've got the Libra charm here, which is kind of prominent. I don't know if either of one of you are Libra, but that's definitely showing up. And then you have the lizard, but the lizard is sort of on his belly, right? He's upside down and he's facing downward. He is in the future, and the lizard always represents sort of the dreaming to me, like the achieving of our dreams, the creating of our dreams by believing in them. You certainly have the belief here with the no doubt, the yeah, I think I am, and the all of these positive sort of attitude of gratitude. You can only increase, your good can only increase, that sort of thing. I feel like there's this openness and this optimism that's going on here. And I feel like in the future, it remains to be seen whether or not that can actually create the dream. That's why he's sort of flipped over and not quite like fully present yet. I have to say this. I feel like there is uh, I'm going to put it this way. I don't know if he's a twin flame. As I'm looking at these charms, I feel like there is significant connection in this relationship. I feel like there is something like sort of, and the reason why I say this is we have all of this sort of positivity and things like the no doubt, the yeah, like yeah, I think kind of thing. But to me, Vishnu is here, Mother Earth is here. Even though she's turned over, I feel like there is this sort of uh, divine connection that's happening between the two of you. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a twin flame scenario, right? But it is an intense connection. And I also think that there's a possibility for more. I gather that from these sort of optimistic charms, from this elephant, from the key with the heart in it in the future, all of these things like doors being open or the key to my heart. The dreaming lizard here says to me that there's possibilities for dreams to be achieved in this relationship, but I feel like we need to have him be ready. And I don't know if he's ready yet to deliver in a way that you need him to. So to me, that doesn't necessarily speak to twin flame in that regard, because to me, I think like twin flame is like meeting your other half or the other half of yourself. So it should be relatively easy um, to connect. I think a lot of people think that their twin flame is he's my other half and da 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 da. Yet he's strung out on heroin or whatever, and I don't think that that's necessarily always the case with twin flame situations, right? So I do feel like this relationship is significant. When I look at these charms, I do feel like there's a possibility for some actual really powerful love, transformative love, the opportunity for optimism, the opportunity to sort of ground and watch that optimism sort of generate a good relationship. But the question is will he be able to show up there and deliver right now? And I think he might be having a little bit more fun or cutting loose a little bit more than you would want. I do think this is a significant relationship. I do think you guys have some sort of karma, some sort of connections. And I keep going back to this Vishnu and this Mother Earth turtle up here. I'm reading Emily. She asked if this person is a twin flame to her. I don't necessarily feel twin flame as much as I feel like maybe there is a deep soul connection for sure. But I wouldn't call it a twin flame per se. Like to me, it doesn't. I feel like there's opportunity for growth here for you, Emily. There's actually opportunity possibly to turn this into a really good relationship. But I think that like he needs some slight adjustments. Is the feeling that I'm getting as I'm looking at these charms. Is there such a thing as a karmic mother? I don't even know what a karmic mother is. I don't know the concept of that. I mean, when I look at this, I feel like this Mother Earth charm is up here. She's on her belly, right, with her belly exposed. And even though like a turtle carries its shell on its back and its home's on its back, this is the most exposed or vulnerable that Mother Earth can be. But I do feel like she's a powerful presence in this, and he's sort of here too, which he represents sort of, he's the closest charm I have in the box to God. So the fact that he shows up is kind of a big deal. But um, I feel like there are definitely some things that need to be cut away. Maybe the stubbornness, the partying, the hard work. You know, we have hard work up here too with the dumbbell. This to me says that you're probably overthinking it a little bit and thinking a little bit too hard on all of this. Might be causing you a little bit of undue stress or worry. We need to let go of that. We need to let go of some of this. We need to replace it with some of this grace, right? But the grace is sort of upside down. but it's here and it's present and it's face up, so that's a good sign. And I like that this says no doubt, and this says like, yeah, I think, like, meaning like it feels sort of playful and kind of open. And then these sort of feel, this was actually flipped over, so we haven't actually got to this point yet because this is in your future, but this idea of being positive and then using the knowledge that you have underneath that positivity to kind of create what you want, I think that it's possible with this person. Do I think that they're like your other half and complete you? I don't know. What is his name? Vishnu. This is Vishnu. He's an Indian god. He's similar to, like, Krishna is his son, and Krishna is like the Christ, basically, in I want to say Hindu religion, I think. I'm not sure. But I don't really have a god charm, so he's the closest thing that I have to, like, what would be representational of God. I have a Jesus charm in the box. I have a Krishna charm in the box. And I like that he's also face up and sitting upright in all of this, like, meaning like he kind of has a hand in this. Like, there is some, I do feel like, yes, there is some sort of divine connection between you and this person, right? Then maybe you two were brought together for a reason. And I don't think that the reason is necessarily a bad reason, because I see that you're using this sort of positivity or exposing you to this idea of sort of generating these positive thoughts to kind of create a positive outcome. And this key to my heart out here in the future feels, and the wisdom of the elephant, the strength of the elephant, feels like there could be something created from this that could be very beneficial and lovely. But it doesn't necessarily speak to me like, oh my God, he's the one, girl, don't let him go. Right? I think that he's the one for right now. Certainly, I think that he's been put in your path. I think that you've learned things from him. I think that he's learned things from you. The question is will he, is he ready for what you want to experience? And I don't know if that's the case. Just yet. All right, let me say that. Like, I don't want to say that he's totally not ever going to be ready, per se. But right now, with this cocktail in the center, it just feels like in this, we've got this sewing machine here, feels like we might be, having to mend things, fix things. Things aren't perfect with this guy, for sure. Not that perfect really exists. I don't necessarily believe that perfect exists, but to me, my concept, and maybe it's my filter of my own brain or whatever, but to me, the concept of like twin flame is finding the other half that complements you. It's like finding the other half of yourself. And I think that we can be comfortable with somebody or be really connected to somebody and mistake that sort of love or that connection or that comfortability with somebody else as if that's what that is. But I think, to me, I think that the idea and concept of twin flame is so, I'm not going to say that I don't think it exists, but I think that it's so rare that for all the people that I see on Facebook saying, oh my God, this person is my twin flame, blah, 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 I'm doubtful. I think finding a soulmate, I think we have many soulmates all around us, all the time. We can meet them. They can be both friends or romantic partners. Sometimes they can even be family members. Like we're connected to them at that deeper soul level. I think a lot of times people mistake soulmates or that sort of soul connection for a twin flame connection because it just feels deeper and more intense than anything that they've experienced with anybody else. And so they label it twin flame because twin flame is a bit of a buzzword that's only been created in the last, 5 to 7 years. Maybe not even 7 years. And to me, I think it's a beautiful concept and I would love to see it happen, but I don't think that it's something that happens very often. She says, yes, there's a lot to fix. Yeah, and I think that you have the optimism to possibly do that, but it's going to require some work. I believe I'm on a twin flame journey. My life has been surrounded by twins. Do you mean like actual physical twins? So that means that you're on a twin flame journey just because you see doubles of things or that you see actual sets of twins? Is that indicative of a twin flame journey? Is the universe that literal? I'm just wondering because I don't really know much about twin flame stuff because I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't believe in it. I just think that it's such a beautiful concept that I don't think that it's as common as everybody is expecting it to be. Like everybody's scrambling around chasing guys that treat them like shit, saying, "But he's my twin flame." No, he's not. He's not. Like if he's treating you like shit, he's not the other half of who you are. I just don't believe that. So having a twin sister and having twin best friends means that you're gonna find your twin flame? I don't know. See, I don't know about the twin flame journey, so that might be a sign or a signifier. I don't know. I've never read up on it. So, to me, I sort of feel like, um, soulmates are hard enough to find. Finding your other, I mean, we're talking about twin flame is the other half of your soul in another body. So you're already insinuating that your soul is maybe not complete on this plane, that there's some other part of your soul wandering around having a life experience. I just don't think that that is happening to as many people as are searching for it. So I just think that if it does exist, it would be a rather rare occurrence. That's just my personal opinion. I do believe in soulmates. I do believe in soul connections. I do believe that there are many people that we incarnate with over a series of lifetimes over and over again to learn many different lessons, and we feel connected to them at a very deep, um, inexplicable level. I think that those are findable and just as valued as, say, a twin flame journey. I think that when you spend a whole life looking for a twin flame, it's beautiful in concept and theory, but you could be cutting yourself off from a whole set of lifetime of experiences because you're caught up in this almost unobtainable um, ideal. That's why I don't necessarily try and push twin flame stuff on anybody because I think that it sets people up for trying to search and find something that may not be there. Yes, I believe in karmic relationships too, Emily. But karmic relationships can be just that, karmic relationships. They don't have to be twin flame relationships. The concept of the twin flame is basically that you are finding the other half of your soul or spirit embodied in another person. And the two pieces of the flame come back together. Right? To me, that's a really sort of, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's a really significant and special relationship that I don't think necessarily everybody's in route for. That's just my feeling. Hey Marita, how are you? So that's just kind of. But I do think that this is a significant relationship for you, Emily. Like I think that Vishnu, the Mother Earth turtle, all of the positivity that I see in these charms, the ancient wisdom under here, I do feel like, and there is work involved, and there's work to be done, and I think that this could be a significant and positive relationship, but there's work to be done, right? And so that to me sort of indicates um, that this might be like a soul connection or a karmic relationship, karmically connected individual that's to you. Who's the Libra? Are either of you Libras? Why is that Libra energy in there? Do you know? What sign is he? See, and you say lots of work, yes, lots of work, and I think that lots of work is great and achievable, and it teaches us stuff, and that would be more of a soulmate nature. Where a twin flame thing to me feels like I think that if it's the other half of your spirit, the other half of your soul that you're meeting and encountering and coming home to in like going into a relationship with, to me, that would not require a lot of work. It should just sort of magically fit because it's from the same being. Libra is it June? No, June to July is Cancer. Um, July to August is it Libra? Is it July to August? I can't think. August to September is Virgo. What's July to August? What follows after? Oh, that would be Leo. So then we have Virgo, and then is it Libra right after? So it would be July to August to September. So September to October is Libra, I think. September to October. End of September, early October, exactly. Sorry, I had to do the math in my head. I'm getting a little tired because I've been at this for 2 hours at this point. Well, the very end of October is Scorpio, I know that. Then you go into Scorpio from October to November. So do you want to take a screenshot of this? Sometimes people screenshot their charmings. I mean, you can certainly research this, and if your intuition, Emily, tells you something different, don't trust my stuff over your intuition, right? Like, I mean, I always say that, like, trust your own intuition over what anything anybody else tells you. That would be the time when things started getting hard between you two. Can I do some cards for you really quick? I just want to pull a card or two, if that's okay. Because I don't want to take away this idea that you might be on a twin flame journey. Like, I don't want that's not my place to say what you're doing, right? Like, if you believe that that's what you're doing, that's perfectly fine. And I think that to aspire to that is a beautiful thing. I think that it's a really wonderful idea and concept. For me, I never want to put that concept out there to somebody because it's such a hard thing to live up to, I feel like. And I don't want people closing themselves off to, everything that's out there and available to them. So I'm just going to look at a couple of cards and see if I get anything different from what I see in these charms. And this isn't normal. I don't normally do cards with charmings and stuff like that, but I'm just being kind to you. You have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Emily. Use that link. Use this link and hit subscribe. You must have a YouTube account. You're a young, hip girl. So for the cards, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, honey, because I need as many subscriptions as I can. Okay, so we lead with the Queen of Swords, which says to me, I'm going to move that up a little bit. We lead with the Queen of Swords, which says to me, definitely it's that energy of not being quite sure and wanting to be really clear in your brain, taking in notes, sort of standing your ground, but also being very cautious, right? You have too much to lose behind this thing because I feel like not only as I'm looking at this card, it's like you are remaining positive and you do bring a lot to the table. I think that you're the grace charm up here. I think that you bring a lot of wonderful things to him that he may not even understand. Like, he may be taking it a little bit for granted or not being as kind as he should be, is kind of the feeling that I get as I'm looking at this Queen of Swords. Not that he's not kind, but like that it's like you're a little bit, I feel like there's a little bit of reluctance here, right? There's this little bit of like, wanting to be sure that you're all in kind of thing. And wanting to be sure that you're going to be able to, he'll treat you like the way you deserve to be treated is kind of how I feel. I think that you can sort of, the strength that I see in this Queen of Swords card says to me that you have the capability to sort of put up with a lot and deal with a lot and remain strong throughout it mentally, for certainly. Um, but whether or not it's worth all of that to you, you're definitely weighing that with that card. Now, the star card to me, I love that the star is in the center of this. Again, this feels very connected on a spiritual level. I love that we have this piece of sage here that's sort of like cleansing everything. The star to me is always about sort of like that beautiful spiritual energy that is within all of us, that ability to sort of shine and just kind of own that with which is within us. Say that 10 times fast. That is sort of like our own internal light, our own internal grace, our own internal you know, beauty, power, but I mean that in a very soft, sort of gentle way. And then we have the Hierophant, again with a key. Girl, like, I think this could be a little bit of a magical relationship. I'm not going to call it here. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras really quick, and I'll go back. Y'all can see my bald head. You forgot I shaved my head, huh? All right. So what I want to say here is I do not want to tell you that it is a twin flame relationship because I don't want to put that heavy of a trip on you. But if you want to believe that it is, that's up to you. I do think that from these cards, I feel like there is a special relationship going on between the two of you. And I think the star brings it together. Okay? Sorry to show you my G.I. Jane look, but I had to change cameras because I just want to reiterate, because I'm going to explain to you in the cards why I feel like this is a special relationship of some sort. Whatever you are picking up on or whatever feelings you are having, even though there's hard work and it's making you question because of the hard work, I do feel like there is a connection between the two of you. Okay? But I'm going to explain to you some things that I see here. So, back to these cards. Let me move this up really quick. So I see you as this Queen of Swords, which I sort of explained. She's a little bit reluctant, but she's also definitely like kind of keyed in and really wants to know what the hell's going on here. I feel like she's smart. She's got a lot of wisdom. She's got the ability to sort of cut through the bullshit if she needs to, but she can't really quite see what fully is going on. I see him as this Hierophant, right? And when we've got this court card of the Queen of Swords, right, she's kind of like royalty and deserves to be treated well, and we know that. The Hierophant to me is also like equally kind of powerful, spiritually sort of knowledgeable. Hierophant deals with sort of institutions and spiritual knowledge, things of that nature. But it's interesting to me because we have this key here and we have this key up here. And I feel like there is a key to all of this. There is a key to someone's heart. There is this idea of maybe opening doors and this being like an actual like uh, beneficial relationship. There is this possibility for that. I saw that in the charms and I see that in the cards. I feel like the two of you kind of do come together into the beauty of this star card. And there is a magic to this. There is a spiritual magic. The spiritual aspect of this is the sage and the smoke. To me, it feels connected. It feels connected in the stars. So therefore, one could use the idea of twin flame, which I'm not going to, but I'm saying that maybe it could be cosmically connected in some way. There is maybe some karma there. There is maybe some connection throughout the stars that brings the two of you together. Now I'm going to go back to these cards for one more thing. He's sleeping over here. So, Emily, I just want to say this. Some of the work that you're doing, some of the stuff that's going on, you might find is a little bit hard because you know he can measure up. He is the Hierophant, right? He has all this beauty and capability in him. He's smart. He's all of these things, but he might be a little lazy. He might be a little excessive. He might be a little messy or childish at times. He might be stubborn. And so it's like he's holding the key to whether or not all of this is going to work. He's got to show up. He's got to wake up and show up. She's alert and ready to go, right? She's just waiting for a cue and wanting to feel safe in this relationship. Um, and she's also aware of all of this energy that's happening in the center, which is this star energy, which I do feel feels cosmic. This card is like the Vishnu and the Mother Earth that I'm seeing in the charms, Emily. So there is something deeper to all of this. Oops, shit. There is something deeper to all of this, and what you're feeling or sensing is correct. I do believe that. I'm not going to be brave enough to call it twin flame. I will call it cosmically connected. How does that sound? I don't want to like commit you to something that, to me, I think you're okay to be committed to. Like, that doesn't bother me. I just don't want to be the one responsible for setting you up for that if it's not the case. Does that make sense? So I will call it cosmically connected because I feel that's safe, and that's what I see in both the charms and the card, is that there are, sorry, this is out of focus. There are definite cosmic connections happening between you and him that are obvious to me from what I see. But I have, like I said, a reluctance to want to label something a twin flame scenario when I'm not sure that it is. She has been coming up a lot, the Queen of Swords. She has. So does that make sense, Emily? I hope that helps. I hope it gives you hope. I do think that there is something to this relationship. I think you're right about that. I just don't necessarily want to go so far as to commit to saying it's a twin flame scenario. But I do want to say this. You also have underneath here this wisdom, this hieroglyph wisdom button. And so I think that you have the skill and the knowledge to sort of sort out whatever this is and find it out for yourself at whatever level you choose to do so. So know that that is there too. Does that make sense? Oh, good. I'm glad, Emily. Because I feel bad because I know that I don't want to... hold on. I'm going to switch cameras. It's a fine line between like... I don't want to take away anybody's dreams, right? And so if you dream of having a twin flame, I want you to go out and I want you to create that for yourself. I don't want my my interpretations of what I see or feel to like affect your ability to dream or manifest, right? So if you feel as though he might be a twin flame, then you can use that Queen of Swords says to me that you have the intelligence and the ability, also that hieroglyph button, you have the knowledge within you to sort of discern whether or not that is the case for you over time. I do think that there is sort of a cosmic connection between the two of you. I will confirm that much for you with that star card, with Vishnu, with the Mother Earth Turtle. There's definitely some higher connectivity between the two of you, or deeper connectivity than, say, your normal boyfriend or friend. I feel safe saying that without feeling like I could be potentially leading you astray or whatever, down a path that I'm not comfortable sending you down. Does that make sense? But don't give up on the twin flame idea. If you believe you're on a twin flame journey, then you are on a twin flame journey. Okay, and I don't want to take that from you. And this might be your twin flame, but I'm going to let you determine that for yourself. Does that make sense? Because it definitely, as far as I can see it, it definitely looks connected. But if there's a lot of work involved, that's going to be for you to decide. So I hope it did help, and I hope I don't want to like take anything away from you or, you know, poo-poo your idea that, I like saying poo-poo. Just kidding. I don't want to poo-poo your idea that you might be on a twin flame journey. You very well may be. You know, just because I read cards and charms doesn't necessarily mean that I see everything all the time. So I just want you to know that. Awesome. Good, Emily. Thank you. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I hope that it did help. I wish I could give you more further, clearer bang. I wish both of those hearts came out and said, oh my God, you are on a twin flame journey, oh my God, and it scared the shit out of me and shook me. I'll tell you a little story about twin flame stuff. I don't really purport to it. I kind of steer clear of it because I think that soulmate is hard enough to kind of come by. And now we've got this whole new thing to live up to of this twin flame journey. And oh my God, like that's just like setting you up for all sorts of craziness. That's my personal opinion. That's just me. And it doesn't mean anything about you. But the first time I let somebody use this charm box when I was in Mexico after I put it together and I was showing them what charming was and how I was learning how to do it, somebody had done it and they had thrown the charms and I had put those two broken heart halves, it was like you snap them in half, and I threw them in there as the twin flame charm. So if these two hearts ever came out together, that would be my symbol from spirit that, oh my God, this is a twin flame situation. This is two halves of the heart coming together. And so, like two halves of the soul coming together, right? And the odds of that with all of the different charms in there is really like slim to none. So I hand my box over to somebody at this spirit circle that we're all working at, and they were playing with the charms, and we're giving each other readings. And they go to do my reading, and they dig in the charm box, and they start pulling shit out, and they throw them on the thing, and sure enough, both of those hearts showed up. Shook me to the floor. Like, I was like, I didn't even say anything to them about what those hearts meant. I don't think I did, because I didn't even want to voice it into reality. Because I was like, no. And I put them in there and knew that it meant twin flame, and both of them came out on my reading that somebody else was doing for me, and I was like, oh, shut up. I'm not saying anything. So anyways, that's my little story about twin flame stuff. God, I really am bald. I went crazy with that shaver. Shit. G.I. Jane. Alright. Anyways, thank you, Emily, for buying a reading. I don't know where you found out about me or how you came across me, but thank you for visiting. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like the business page, too, and you can always join the community and sort of hang out. If you want to join the Engelgeist group, I'm trying to allow definitely anybody that's a paying customer gets to, come in and join the group. The Twin Lobster Special, exactly. The Twin Lobster Special. The minute you take me out for the Twin Lobster Special, Andrew, that's when you become my twin flame, okay? So, I want the bib, though, and I want a fucking table by the window. If you don't get me those things, you're not my twin flame. You might just only be a soulmate. That's all I'm saying. And that's if you get me the all-you-can-eat salad bar, too. All right, so that's it for tonight. I made great money tonight. Thank you so much, everybody who bought Charmings. Half of my speeding ticket is paid. This is why I shaved my head. Because I can't afford a haircut because I have to pay that speeding ticket. So, I just shaved it off tonight, Kelly. I was doing the sides and I couldn't get it right, like on here, and then I fucked up a chunk in the back, so I just sort of shaved it from the back off. And I was like, whatever. I'll deal with it later. And it's like new moon, new year, new hair, regrowth, start over. So, we'll see. Either that or I'll wear a hat for a few days until it grows back. It's just, it looks weird up here to me. I need this to grow back in. I like the sides this short. I love the sides and the back this short. But I don't like the top this short. It was a little drastic. Probably should have changed. I was too lazy and I didn't change the guards. I could have done something differently, but I didn't dig through the door for the guards. I just went with the one and just did the whole fucking thing. Alright, you guys, have a good new moon. I get both because you hate seafood. Well, then you can have the baked potato, okay? Alright, I'm gonna go cuddle my dogs, make some dinner, watch some crap TV. The new Sabrina the Teenage Witch season is out. I'm sort of excited about that. I've got to get through season 2, but that will give me some binge watching. Go eat KFC while eating. Oh, bitch, shut up. That was my step-down number, and that was a great number. Because in the song, Mariah goes, and so I was like eating KFC, like licking the grease off my fingers. That was a great number. If it's over, just let me go. Because that's when I was stepping down as Miss Tranishak. So I was like, if it's over, if my year of reigning as Miss Tranishak is over, just let me go. All right, you crazy kids. I'm going to go. Thank you, everybody who bought a reading. Those of you that are new and that stayed on and watched everything, thank you very much. For those of you that are returning, thank you for coming back. I love you guys. For those of you in the group, go create a video. Let us get to know you. I'm loving the videos. They're super fun. Andrew, you should make one too. Just because you're a guy doesn't mean you don't have to make a video. Let us know who you are. What's your truth, dude? Share with the group. Share. Whoa, Sonny. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night, and I will see you guys in the morning for the forecast. Okay? And I think that's it, right? Tomorrow's Saturday, right? Jesus, I don't even know what day it is. Alright, you guys. I wish you a great night. The Engelgeist group. Aren't you a part of it, Andrew? Here, in the link, if you go here, if you hit the link, and it says join the Facebook group. There's a group that's just like a lot of the people that are the regulars that come to the charmings and the dailies and stuff are in that group. We're doing the breathing work too from the daily in there now instead of on the videos. So if you click that link and request to join, then I'll put you in the group too. And also, are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? I'm just pumping everybody for YouTube subscriptions. So if you're not, use that and subscribe to the YouTube channel, even if you watch on Facebook. I don't care. I just need the subscriptions. All right, I'm going to go and make dinner, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you in the morning. Have a great night, you guys. Oh, hi, Arthur. Do you guys want to see Arthur really quick? Come here, you little shit. Look at how big he's getting. He's getting so big. Look at those paws. Look at those paws. He's getting so big, so tall, so fast. Oh, come here, Bubby. Hi. Hi, Captain Jack. What are you doing? Do you see any dingleberries on his butt? Look at how big he's getting. Oh, he's so pretty. This is Arthur Finley, you guys. His birthday, October 31st. He's my familiar. Always scratching my shoulder. All right. And he's a true Scorpio. He'll just scratch you and then leave you. Sex, death, and regeneration, those bastards. All right. Have a great day, you guys. Or a great night, and I will see you later. All right. Bye. You guys don't like being